The 23rd of October 2019 remains a memorable day in the history of the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. On that day, President Muhammadu Buhari granted approval for the former Ministry of Communications to be renamed the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. This further expands the ministry's mandate to capture the goals of digitalization and diversification of the Nigerian economy in line with the demands of the Economic Growth and Recovery Plan, that is the EGRP, one of the key points of the present administration's agenda. Critical sectors of the economy include health, education, agriculture, security, banking, transportation, power, and energy. And the ministry is at the forefront of encouraging every sector to effectively and efficiently deploy IT in order to enhance sustainable growth. Day in, day out, technology continues to improve, thereby improving our way of life. Technology has not only improved our business, but also contributes immensely to our learning system. This is where the Tertiary Education Trust Fund comes in. The intervention agency is accelerating its interventions into the ICT sector in a move that will bring Nigerian public tertiary institutions into the 21st century and make them a critical contributor to Nigeria's knowledge economy. These are the chronicles of the journey to institutionalize research and development in Nigeria. Hello and welcome to this edition of TETFund, The Paradigm Shift. I am Stanley Bentu. According to a new World Bank assessment, Nigeria is capturing only a fraction of its digital economic potential and will need to make strategic investments to develop dynamic, transformative digital economy. The Nigeria Digital Economy Diagnostic says that with improvements in digital connectivity, digital skills, digital financial services, and other core areas of digital development, Nigeria can fully unleash new economic opportunities, and create jobs, and transform people's lives. Isabel Neto, World Bank Senior Digital Development Specialist and co-author of the World Bank report titled Digital Diagnostic, A Plan for Building Nigeria's Inclusive Digital Future, said, and I quote, "As the biggest economy in Africa, with one of the largest populations of young people in the world, Nigeria is well positioned to develop a strong digital economy, which would have a transformational impact on the country." Through innovations and investments, the Nigerian economy can harness digital data and new technologies, generate new content, link individuals with markets and government services, and roll out new sustainable business models, end quote. Now, this is the reason why TETFund's current policy thrust capture investments in building the ICT capacity of Nigeria's public tertiary institutions. This is a vital part of the research and development paradigm shift. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund on the 16th of May 2022 inaugurated the TETFund Digitalization Project Steering and Coordinating Committee. The project was necessitated by the need for a national academic research repository, given that numerous research outputs were gathering dust in the libraries across tertiary institutions in the country. Take a look.
In a student's final year at the university, it is compulsory to write a final year project, which is a test of your ability to do research. You are to formulate hypotheses, review related literature, sometimes do interviews, surveys, and apply other research techniques, which may include both present and historical information. The result is ideally archived and can be used either to support or disagree with further research work. But many university undergraduates today don't even bother to do proper research work. A disturbing trend is that some students simply copy from old projects and change the byline of the owners. Another problem is that many tertiary institutions are still struggling with the practice of hard copy theses and projects. Unfortunately, there is only so much room to store them. In 2016, there was an uproar of outrage on social media when a user posted a photograph of many copies of university projects which were discarded in a garbage dump. Important materials and theses have also been lost due to fire outbreaks. This is where digitization provides an answer. The importance of digitization of dissertation and thesis for researchers, universities, and libraries is quite obvious for storage and easy access. The digitization of libraries would also discourage plagiarism by researchers at any level.
The CVCNU is working closely with the fund to deploy the thesis digitization for Nigerian tertiary institutions. This is in addition to deploying our homegrown plagiarism detection software called EgoScan. The application is a best-in-class solution that will enable all final year and postgraduate students undertake a plagiarism check before they submit their long essays stroke thesis.
The digitization project is driven by the concern for storage accessibility and the fight against plagiarism. It is also driven by the rise of institutional repository and the momentum of the open access movement. The proposed digitization project will dematerialize and digitize theses and projects, starting with the thesis at the PhD and master levels across TETFund's beneficiary institutions. The Steering Committee for TETFund's ongoing digitization of thesis projects is the first of its kind in the life of the fund. The committee, comprising of heads of ICT units from across various institutions in the country, is chaired by Professor Yakubu A. Ochefo, the Secretary General of the Committee of Vice Chancellors of the Nigerian University. Other members include Engineer Usman Jibrin, Pius Ekirewo, Dr. David Alenoto, Dauda Oyeleye, and Idvisa Osibo, amongst others. The Executive Secretary of TETFund, while speaking at the inauguration, reiterated that he intends to focus sharply on some critical areas of TETFund intervention, including research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and leveraging on ICT to facilitate digital literacy.
Digitization, or digitizing processes in institutions, is not an alien concept. Maybe the degree may differ, but all institutions know that it is the future of education. Several years ago, the National Universities Commission championed the Open Education Resource Project in our universities. This led to the birth of the Nigerian Education Research Network, what we call NGREN at the time, which has over the years provided technological support to Nigerian universities. However, the need for a national academic research repository or a national knowledge bank became imperative, given that numerous research outputs were lying dormant in our libraries. Worse still, the few existing repositories were not readily accessible to a national or global audience. For example, the National Research Fund, which TETFund manages, has accumulated several high-quality research papers and findings that can only be found in a closed repository. The Board of Trustees of TETFund, in a bid to redress this situation, initiated the digitization of thesis project, tasking the Executive Secretary with shepherding a centralized mechanism that will form the basis for storing the materialized academic outputs in electronic form.
Responding, the chairman of the committee, Professor Yakubu Ochefu, pledged the readiness of his team to deliver on the task. Ochefu, who commended TETFund for initiating the project, said the scheme will turn around the fortunes of the nation's education system.
Let me first of all thank and celebrate TETFund for initiating this project. It is a clear statement that the fund is in tune with the needs of tertiary institutions across Nigeria. Individual academic repositories are a core element for any institution of higher learning that seeks to be relevant in the age of open knowledge. Federated repositories like the one that this project aims to achieve are the icing on the cake as they aggregate the quantum of knowledge produced by nation's institutions of higher learning. Ultimately, this project will deliver the largest amount of knowledge, cultural and scientific content for all categories, including all the needed content for our students of our universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. We will work with the TETFund Project Management Office to ensure a seamless workflow for the project. As you have noted in your address, the major task before us is to develop policy frameworks for federating knowledge outputs from our institutions of higher learning. The process of deposit workflow, research presentation, and data management will be clearly spelled out.
Some of TETFund's beneficiary institutions have made significant progress in efforts to digitize academic output. But sadly, the majority, about 80%, have had significant results to show, while only about 10% have digitized a considerable volume of their theses. The Materialization project, which will also address other critical issues such as plagiarism, intellectual property protection, commercialization of academic works and other value-added services to improve the achievements of the fund's mandate. The steering committee is an advisory body composed of stakeholders and subject experts. Their primary task is to develop a framework for digitizing research outputs from Nigerian institutions of higher learning. The committee's terms of reference as follows: development and adoption of a model digitization policy for beneficiary institutions. Provide coordinating support and guidance for the project management team to implement this digitization project successfully. Develop frameworks and procedures to ensure that the project deliverables are strictly adhered to. Identify intellectual property issues, ownership and reward models for institutions and stakeholders. Provide monitoring and evaluation support for the project. Liaise with the various beneficiary institutions to ensure that the project is on track as scheduled. Provide scheduled reports on the progress of this project to TETFund. Promote adoption and achieve conflict management among identified stakeholders whilst maximizing the project's benefits across key stakeholder groups. Advise on related initiatives, i.e., electronic database subscription, internet infrastructure provisioning, e-learning platforms, as well as value-added services and others that impact the successful delivery of this project. Advise project sustainability, envisaging TETFund eventual financial sign-off. Identify existing working models across the globe and advise accordingly. Undertake and advise management on any other actions that will contribute to the success of the project.
On this note, I take very special pleasure in inaugurating the project steering and coordinating committee of the TETFund thesis digitization project. I wish you the very best of God's blessings and support and guidance, and I'm very confident that our country will be better for it in the years ahead.
Speaking earlier in a goodwill message, the Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, MBTE, Professor Idris Bugaje, described the project as a game changer, adding that it would not only end plagiarism in research work, but will ensure easy access to information and networking by scholars.
With this project, surely we are going to put an end to that malpractice. Not only that, it will also allow easy access to information. The development of science and technology especially requires us to be on top of the curve in terms of available information, so that we roll out research projects that would add value to existing information. For so long we have been graduating PhDs and masters. For so long the theses have been there in the libraries. Now we are taking them to a digital platform. Let there be a change. Let those researchers lead to certain technologies being evolved in this country. Technologies that we can call Nigerian. Even the pounded yam machine developed, was it in Ife, University of Ife? Somebody took it out, and now they are bringing those machines from Japan. Nigerians are buying them. This was a technology whose basic work or research was carried out in Nigeria. Nigeria being the leader of Africa, almost 20% of the population of Africa living here in Nigeria. Nigeria must lead in terms of R&D. We cannot do that if our postgraduate researchers are not digitalized. We cannot get to that level if we continue operating analog in a way. This project is therefore a real game changer.
In Nigeria, the digital economy is a key priority, as the report you just watched notes. The country has made some strides to strengthen the digital space. Nigeria's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2020 recognizes the need for a digital-led strategy to make the Nigerian economy more competitive in the 21st century. In 2015, the Nigeria Communications Commission proposed the transition of the economy into a digital one through investments in digital infrastructure, more specifically broadband, which is a key driver of digital economic growth. Now, there is a vibrant ecosystem of digital entrepreneurship in Lagos and Abuja that is supported by the dynamic incubators that are basically venture capital companies and digital startups, and also supported by the diaspora. One of these organizations is called Innovate Hub, located on Airport Road right here in Abuja. It's a partner of TETFund, and this is why the intervention agency paid a visit to Innovate Hub recently.
A team from TETFund paid a visit to an innovation startup center of excellence known as Innovate Hub in Abuja. On hand to receive the TETFund team, the founder of Innovate Hub, Professor Gregory Ibe, spoke glowingly of the prototype products developed at the hub in different areas of specialization.
Today is a good day. You are welcome to the Innovate Hub, which came up as a result of the success recorded. First, we owe it to TETFund, helping to improve all the universities, polytechnics in Nigeria, including primary school science kit, secondary school science kit before it was made tertiary.
Professor Ibe also revealed to TETFund that he was consulting with the National Universities Commission on medical simulations as a strategy to overcome the challenge of limited spaces for aspiring medical students in Nigerian universities.
And then I consult personally for NUC on medical simulation. Carrying capacity is the greatest problem we have. So if the oldest university is still on 180, 200. I now did medical simulation program for the whole country. I moved the capacity. Yes. Now we are moving it exactly to 800 to 1,000 persons. So TETFund has all the papers and NUC approved. And they asked me to go and make sure that a lot of universities up not. Comes with medical colleges.
The Executive Secretary of TETFund, in his response, noted that research and development is the future of education and stressed that one of Nigeria's major challenges is producing graduates that can readily get employment or, on their own, become employers and entrepreneurs.
Everywhere we go, the idea is that the future graduates we produce are not just those who will memorize scripts and pass examinations. And then when the employers are looking for them, when they recruit them, they still have to take them for training to acquire practical knowledge and skills and acquaintance with the equipment, interaction with what they'll be doing in the workplace. This bridges that gap. And when we go around, we'll begin to see. We are also going to be organizing, in partnership with them, train-the-trainer programs for some of our scholars to come here. And even in the wider sense, we'll encourage the sector to even cascade down for even students at technical levels. Should be able to, those are the promising ones, should come and experience this, where they can conceive an idea and within a very short time frame, they will take in through those ideas, and at the end of the tunnel, you see products. Once we can replicate this around our country, we'll be on the path.
After the brief interactive session, the Executive Secretary and his team were guided on a tour around the facility to witness firsthand some of the innovations and inventions of past enrollees.
It's a bold new digital world out there. The question is, what part do we play in it? Now, according to the plan for building Nigeria's inclusive digital future, the challenges and recommendations include 1. Improving our digital infrastructure. Now, despite having the largest mobile market in sub-Saharan Africa, which is supported by strong broadband infrastructure and improved international connectivity, Nigeria has minimal fixed broadband infrastructure and connectivity in rural areas, leaving a significant number of the most marginalized segment of the population without internet access. Secondly, strengthening digital platforms. Strong public and private digital platforms support the provision of digital services and a thriving commerce platform. However, millions of Nigerians lack formal identification records to access a range of public and private services. And thirdly, providing access to digital financial services. About 60 million Nigerian adults are without access to a formal account, stalling the country's journey towards financial inclusion. Now, whereas in other African markets, financial inclusion would mostly be driven by digital financial services, service providers, in Nigeria, the huge potential of DFS still remains untapped. Fourthly, improving the policy environment for digital entrepreneurship. Now, despite our large youthful and entrepreneurial population, digital entrepreneurship is yet to be fully exploited, given its potential to become an engine of economic transformation in Nigeria. And number 5, closing the digital skills knowledge gap. The capabilities and skills required to use various forms of digital technologies remain limited to a small segment of the population. Increases in higher level education and the existence of accessible online training initiatives is bringing digital skills to those who are able to access them. However, low enrollment in basic education and poor quality of that education, coupled with a lack of digital skills in curricula, is segmenting digital skills into a slim share of the population, excluding the poorest from the benefits of the digital world. And that is the paradigm shift. Join us again on the next edition of the program. Until then, thank you for stopping by. Good night.